Hi, and welcome to another Night Listener episode with Raven Hayes. I am Andy Moore in the studio taking your calls. Raven?
Thanks, Andy. Okay. This is Julie's second letter, and as promised, we are releasing it on the air. By the way, we've received like a total of 10 letters. Jessie, one of our interns, volunteered and said she would read the letters, and I must say she's done a great job. Here it is. Enjoy.
It was late afternoon now. We were walking to this corner on Cahuenga Boulevard to get some iced tea. It was still really hot. The little cafe there had this cute vibe with outdoor tables. The air was filled with the rich smell of coffee and cookies. As I was about to hand over my credit card, Anna gently grabbed my wrist, pulled it back, insisting on paying. Her grip was firm but gentle, and honestly, it felt really nice. I almost didn't want her to let go, but then she did. While we were sitting, she said that she was house-sitting for a friend. It's this super cozy place in a building with a patio garden. I have to feed his cat. Do you want to help me feed her? She asked. I mean, I would have gone to the moon with her if she'd asked, but I tried to play it cool. I took a sip and said, yeah, sure. Anna's face lit up. We left the cafe and she led me down this charming side street. We passed vintage shops and art galleries until we reached this tall building with big planters full of flowers. Love the smell. We walked through these giant glass doors, past the front desk where an older man greeted us. It seemed like he knew her since Anna just nodded. Then we headed towards the elevators. The building was huge. 6 elevators in a big lobby. I couldn't help but wonder who this friend of hers was, living in a place like this. The elevator ride was awkwardly silent. No music or anything. I could feel the heat still clinging to me. I could smell my own sweat. I glanced at the mirrored panel and caught Anna checking me out. She didn't panic, she just kept looking, and then a smile. For the first time, I noticed the slight wrinkles on her face, which somehow made her even more hot. The elevator dinged, and I followed her, almost like I was on an invisible leash. We passed a few doors. She stopped in front of one. Anna swiped a key, a click. And the door opened. She gave me a tour of the place, and it was the biggest 2-bedroom apartment I'd ever seen. It looked like something out of a movie. 19-foot ceilings with wall-to-wall windows. Everything had a masculine vibe, contemporary, from the slick brown leather furniture to the impressive wet bar in the main room, or as I called it, the grand room. The bar was really striking, slick-looking with its red velvet and black leather accents. Then we walked into the kitchen, which had high-end stainless steel appliances and wall-to-wall cabinets. But what caught my eye was this odd-looking white tall cabinet by the side table. It had these 3 big holes across, halfway down the sliding panels. Weird. What the fuck? Anna slipped her fingers into one of the holes in the door, slid the door open, and pulled out a bag of cat food. Then the holes were just handles. Anna smiled and nodded. Then I followed her. She opened the massive glass doors to the patio garden. She looked just right in the late afternoon sun. I was just enjoying watching her walk, and then she stopped. She bent over and poured some food into a red bowl. And then my heart skipped a beat. Here she was, and I just caught a glimpse. I could see it. She was wet. Even though it was just for a second, but it was an image that stuck in my mind. Then Anna stood up, shrugged, saying the cat would come for the food eventually. She walked back inside, past me to the wet bar, leaned over and grabbed a bottle of tequila. And again, for the second time I saw it again, like from 5 feet away. She was wet, and in my mind I almost touched her. Then Anna looked at me. We need limes, she said. Then I followed her to the kitchen. We sat at the table next to that weird tall cabinet with the weird holes, and we did shots. Yes, many shots. I found out she was a makeup artist who worked on smaller films. That's how she knew Bill, the guy who lived there. He was out of town and that's why Anna was taking care of his cat. But honestly, all I could think of was how wet she was. We kept doing more shots. I couldn't shake this feeling that we weren't alone. Maybe it was just the liquor or the pussycat lurking somewhere, but I felt like we were being watched. Suddenly, Anna grabbed my hand, turned it palm up, and sprinkled salt on my index finger. Downed her shot, then sucked on my finger. Slowly opened her eyes. Now, sucked even harder. Then she stood up, pressed her belly against my face. It felt really nice. I was frozen, just sitting there following her lead. While still holding to my wrist, she guided my hand into her panties. A gasp. Then silence. With her other hand, Anna pulled back my hair, my head tilted, and she kissed me. It was sudden, ravishing, but felt right. We kissed, now harder. She pushed me against the white cabinet and pressed against me. She felt hard. Her breasts, they felt hard, perfect. Her hand slid down, yanking my leggings and panties in one swift move. I was drunk, happy, and turned on. Anna grabbed the holes in the cabinet door, holding me against it as she started grinding against me. Our breathing synced up, now hot and heavy. She let go of one of the holes in the door and her hand slipped between my thighs. Now pressing, pushing harder. She reached up. First one finger, then two, and then three. It felt more than three. But at that point I stopped counting. It felt good, so I didn't complain. She pushed so hard that the cabinet jerked back and forth like it was part of the action. We were close. Anna's mouth found mine, and she locked onto my tongue, sucking hard. I couldn't move, she had me pinned against the cabinet. I thought maybe this was her thing, and I was just along for the ride. Suddenly, everything happened at once. Her fingers stopped moving, she let go of my tongue, the cabinet stopped shaking, and suddenly a china vase fell from the top of the cabinet, shattering on the floor. Our eyes locked on the broken vase. Our breathing slowed down. A smile spread across our faces as we locked eyes. And, at that moment, everything felt right.
Okay, you've heard it here first. We'll have Julie's next letter on the air, I believe, next week or so. So until then, I'm Raven Hayes. Good night.